You walk into a party. The music is loud, laughter bursts from every corner, glasses clink, and everyone seems to be moving in clusters, hugging, shouting, posing for pictures. And then there's you. You scan the room, smile politely, maybe grab a drink, and somehow end up near the balcony, or in the kitchen, or sitting on the stairs having a quiet one-on-one conversation while the rest of the world feels like it's happening somewhere else. If you've ever preferred the edges of the party instead of the center, you've probably asked yourself a question at least once. What's wrong with me? Are you antisocial, awkward, judging everyone, or secretly wishing you were more outgoing? Here's the twist. The psychology of people who prefer being alone at parties isn't about disliking people. It's about how your brain processes stimulation, connection, and meaning. And once you understand that, everything changes. Let me paint a picture. Imagine two types of nervous systems walking into the same party. One brain sees opportunity, novelty, energy. Dopamine spikes with every new face. The noise feels electric. The chaos feels alive. The other brain sees data, a lot of data. Every conversation, every facial expression, every shift in tone gets processed deeply. The music isn't just background, it's a sensory layer competing for attention. The laughter isn't just laughter, it's emotional information to interpret. If you're the second type, your brain isn't rejecting the party, it's absorbing it at a higher intensity. Psychologists have long studied introversion and extroversion, especially through the lens of arousal theory. Research suggests that introverted brains are naturally more sensitive to dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with reward and stimulation. Extroverts often need more external input to feel energized. Introverts, not so much. Their baseline level of cortical arousal is already higher. In simple terms, what feels pleasantly stimulating to others can feel overwhelming to you. So when you step away from the crowd, you're not escaping connection, you're regulating your nervous system. But here's where it gets more interesting. Many people who prefer being alone at parties aren't shy, they're not socially anxious. In fact, they can be incredibly socially skilled. They just crave depth over breadth. While others bounce from group to group, you might find yourself locked into a 40-minute conversation about someone's childhood, their career doubts, or their secret dream to move abroad. And somehow, that one conversation feels more satisfying than talking to 20 people combined. Your brain prioritizes meaningful engagement. It filters out what feels superficial. There's also something called the observer position. Some personalities naturally take on the role of watcher rather than performer. At a party, while others are busy being seen, you're seeing. You notice who seems uncomfortable, who's trying too hard, who's actually listening. You pick up on subtle dynamics, the micro-tensions, the unspoken hierarchies, the inside jokes that reveal old friendships. It's almost like you're conducting a silent psychological study. And that observational strength, it's not accidental. Research on high sensitivity and reflective thinking shows that some individuals process social environments more analytically and emotionally at the same time. It's like having emotional surround sound. Beautiful, but intense. Now, of course, there's a shadow side. Sometimes preferring solitude at parties isn't just about overstimulation. Sometimes it's about identity. Maybe you've always felt slightly outside the main group. Maybe growing up, you were the quiet one, the thoughtful one, the old soul. And over time, you built a self-image around being the person who doesn't need the spotlight. Humans are storytellers about themselves. If you've told yourself long enough that you're not a party person, you'll unconsciously behave in ways that reinforce that identity. You drift to the edges because that's where you expect yourself to belong. But notice something important. Preferring solitude is different from feeling excluded. If you choose the balcony because it feels peaceful, that's autonomy. If you choose it because you're afraid you won't fit in, that's something else entirely. This is where things get honest. Ask yourself, when you step away at a party, do you feel relief or rejection? Relief suggests self-awareness. Rejection suggests an old wound. Sometimes people who prefer being alone at parties are deeply independent thinkers. They don't feel the same pull towards social validation. While others chase likes, photos, or social proof, you might genuinely not care. Your brain values internal alignment over external approval. There's research suggesting that individuals who score higher in self-determination and intrinsic motivation feel less dependent on group energy to define their experience. You don't need the crowd to confirm your existence. But there's also another layer: cognitive bandwidth. Think about your attention like a battery. Every conversation costs energy. Every laugh, every response, every social cue interpretation drains a tiny percentage. If your brain is wired for depth, that battery drains faster in large groups, so you instinctively protect it. It's not antisocial, it's strategic. And yet, society tends to glorify extroversion, loud confidence, social dominance, being the life of the party. From school classrooms to corporate culture, the spotlight often shines brightest on the most outwardly expressive. So if you're someone who prefers the corner seat, you might unconsciously feel inferior. But here's the irony. Some of the most influential thinkers, artists, and leaders throughout history were known for withdrawing from crowds to process deeply. Solitude has always been a breeding ground for insight. When you step away from the noise, your brain integrates information. It reflects. It connects dots others miss. The party might be loud, but your mind is quiet and active. Let's talk about something subtle. There's a kind of quiet confidence in choosing to stand alone at a party. It takes a certain level of self-trust not to chase constant inclusion.